years. Many years ago, the National Institute of Health put out a call for action to increase the participation of minorities in research and the amount of minority scientists conducting research on minority populations. This created various centers across the country that focuses on particular population. Here in Michigan, it created the Michigan Center for Urban African American Aging Research, or what we call MACWAR. MACWAR is jointly run by the Wayne State University, Michigan State University, and the University of Michigan. The Healthier Black Elder Center is the community core of MACWAR. HBEC is a wonderful program that aims to address and reduce health disparities through research and education. We host various events that provide health-related education to the community with a focus on aging. We provide education on topics that range from diabetes and heart health to food, safety, nutrition, creating healthy habits, and brain health. I am very sorry we cannot be holding this event in person together, but I am happy we can still connect this way to keep providing education in the meantime. To learn more about our program, please visit our website that is www.mcuaar.org or call our office at 313-664-2616. I will say that website and phone number again for everyone just in case you didn't get it. The website is www.mcuaar.org, and that's ORG. And the phone number is 313-664-2616. Again, we thank you all for joining us today and hope you enjoy the workshop. Thank you.
All right, very good, Barbara. Thank you very much for the introduction. I would like to introduce Iteria Finley and Nancy Hampton. They're both community nutrition instructors with MSU Extension, so they're my colleagues, and they serve down in Oakland, I believe into Wayne County as well. So Nancy and Iteria, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thank you, Sean. Okay.
Thank you, Sean.
This is a poster that we always have. MSU is an affirmative action, equal opportunity employer. So we always have to show this flyer, this post. Thank you. Next. This is Stocking a Smarter Pantry. This is the name of our workshop today. So I hope you will all enjoy. Next. I just love this picture. So I'm letting you all see that it's a person shopping. She's shopping for her pantry today. So we have this picture right here. Thank you, Pat. Next, Sean. Now, this is an icebreaker. And I want to ask you a question, and I want you to put it in the chat for me. If you have ever been sick because of food, list the food you ate that made you sick and what you think was the cause of it. So I'd like you to fill out the Q&A questions and put it in the chat, and Sean will read out the chat for us. Okay. Oh, somebody said oysters. Oh. Anyone else? That was a nice answer because my mom loved oysters, and we used to eat it all the time. But I know it had salmonella in it, but we love oysters. But it had made me sick too. Next, since that's the only. And someone put it in the chat, yes, but I'm not sure what made me sick. Oysters always, that's part of the chat, okay? Thank you. Now I am gonna hand it over. Oh, someone else also in the chat said a salad made them sick.
So I'm going to talk briefly about how to stock your pantry. First of all, we have to plan whenever we're stocking our pantry. And we want to make sure that we don't buy too much food to go in our pantry, because most of us don't have a lot of space or storage space. So we want to make sure that you're only buying what you need, because it's wasteful when you buy a lot of food and you end up throwing it away. And it also is wasteful with your money. I mean, you're wasting money. Some of the things that I would say that we could use in our pantry just to have like staples would be things like canned beans and canned vegetables and rice and whole wheat pasta. You might have some cans of tuna, dried fruits. You may have things like that. You also may have things like onions and potatoes, because we may use a lot of those. Also, make sure that you have your various seasons that you use often, because this is something that we don't want to have to run out at the last minute to get to when we're trying to make a meal. But we don't need a lot of food in the house, because we forget oftentimes that it's even there. So this is a way that we can start to stock our pantry safely, and we don't have food sitting there for months and months. So I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you. Next slide.
So we're going to follow those 4 simple steps. Bacteria can cause sickness for food when not properly handled. The following steps to avoid foodborne illness, starting with number 1, clean, 2, cook, 3, separate, 4, chill. So these are the 4 steps that we need to follow to have to be safe. Thank you. Next. We also must wash our hands, and that's with warm water for 20 seconds after you handle food, touching your hair, or going to the bathroom, or touching your pet. Make sure you wash your cutting board and your utensils and your counter. I have a thing about using your washcloth. We always say a wash rag. But using our washcloth, I want to make sure we use the washcloth for your dishes. Use another cloth to wipe your counters down. So that'll keep bacteria from forming, because you're using both washcloth for 2 different reasons. Okay, next.
And I would like to throw in here real quick. There are a couple questions coming in the Q&A box, and we will address those at the end, just to make sure we keep going with the presentation. So please feel free to throw anything into the question and answer box, and we will get to those towards the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Okay. And I also like to let you know too about for the 20 seconds, it's usually I hum it, and I hum a happy birthday song from the beginning to the end, or I'll count from 1 to 20. So usually I hum and I just wash my hands, and I know that I don't wash my hands for 20 seconds. Okay. I also encourage you to use a paper towel to clean the kitchen surface. If you're using a cloth, wash it in hot water frequently, and wash your fruits and your vegetable under running water. Even the skin, the rims aren't, you can't eat, once you eat them, I like for you to clean your bananas. Also like to clean your outer part of your cantaloupe. So that is the things that you need to use to keep your food safe. And I encourage you to wipe the banana down, because once the banana is in the supermarket, The banana gets all kind of little pets, little flies. So when you take it home, you're taking home that germ. So you want to clean your bananas, wipe it down. Next. Separate. Use one cutting board for the product for different from raw meat. Put your cutting food where raw food was before. So usually when I use my chopping board, I wash it. I don't rinse it off. I wash the chopping board. So I make sure that bacteria is not going on the chopping board. So I change it up and I make sure it's clean with soapy water. Next.
Separate. We want to make sure that we're separating the foods that are in our refrigerator, our pantry, or whatever. There's different racks that we may put the meat on. The meat should be at the lowest part where if you're, say for instance, you're going to make something tomorrow and you got chicken, you don't want chicken in the refrigerator that's not on a plate or on a tray or something like that, because if it has any kind of juices, it'll drip right down onto the rest of the food. So there are places in the refrigerator that we should store the raw food, vegetables and fruits, and there's different temperatures too that in the refrigerator, that you don't want your fruit and your vegetables to get too cold because they'll wilt. So these are places that we store our foods, but make sure that we are separating them from one another. Even our juices and our milks and things like that, we want to make sure that they're separated. And also, not only in the refrigerator, you should also be separating your food in the cart when you're at the grocery store to make sure that everything is safe. Things like salads and various things, leftovers that you put in the refrigerator, make sure that they're covered so you won't be drop anything in them, and don't leave them in the refrigerator too long.
Mhm.
Next.
Now we're gonna do cook food. Cook food safely. When it reaches a temperature for the high enough for to kill bacteria, use your thermostat, your thermometer, your thermometer. Color does not mean the food is cooked. Sometimes my son will have food that look like he done cooked it and it looks so nice. And when you cut it, it's still pink inside. So be careful about cooking your food. Turn your food over constantly. Maybe you need to use your thermometer and you use it and put it in the thicker part of the meat, not so close to the bone, but to the thicker part of the meat, and it will tell you the temperature of your meat. Next. Cook. Hot food should be kept at 140 Fahrenheit or higher. Reheat microwave mean the food needs to get to 140 Fahrenheit. Bring sauce, soup to a boil when you're reheating. Okay. Next. Safe cooking temperatures. If we look at different types of meat, it's the beef, pork, veal, lamb, steak, roast, or chops. They must be at 145 Fahrenheit. Fish, 145 Fahrenheit. Ground beef, 160 Fahrenheit. Egg dishes, 160 Fahrenheit. Turkey, chicken, and duck, 165 Fahrenheit. Next. Chill. Refrigerator should be at 40 Fahrenheit or below. The freezer should be at 0 Fahrenheit. Refrigerator or the freezer, purchase, cook, or leftover food within 2 hours. Make sure you put that food away. Marinate in your refrigerator. Thaw safely. I usually have this rule, the 2-hour rule. If the food is left out in 2 hours, it's safe to eat. You could put it in the refrigerator. After 4 hours, you toss it. So that's the rule, 2-hour rule. You can keep it out for 2 hours, 4 hours. If it's been left out for 4 hours, you toss it. Next. Chill. Separate leftovers in a shadow containers. Do not overpack your refrigerator. Nancy?
We actually want to add to that whenever you are, think about that we should be cleaning our refrigerator and cleaning out our freezer. At least clean the refrigerator at least once a week. And when we're cleaning our refrigerator, we want to make sure that we are removing all of the food items out of the refrigerator and also remove the shelves and the drawers so you can make sure that you can clean in the back of the refrigerator. And you can also see the foods that's been sitting there too long. Oftentimes we think it's safe, but it's not really safe because bacteria accumulates and doubles every 20 minutes. So if you're starting out with something that's been in there for a couple of days, the third day, it has started to add bacteria. And also one of the things that we have to remember as far as chilling is concerned, that we need to take everything out, but we also have to know that temperatures, bacteria still grows when it's cold. It doesn't make any difference because if the food is not really safe when you put it in there, the temperature, the freezer or the refrigerator is not going to make it safe. It's just you keeping something that's already spoiled, not safe, you know, and you cannot eat that. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. Don't block the vents in your refrigerator and your freezer. Either one of them should not be more than 3/4 full in order for the air to circulate around the food and keep it safe. So make sure that we're not blocking it. Next.
Okay, we're gonna do an activity right now. Sean, do you have the questions?
I do.
Oh,
So the first question, if perishable foods have not been left at room temperature for long, how long can we keep it or can we toss it?
we can put the answer in the chat.
We're seeing a few people say, keep it, keep it. I'll read the question again. If perishable foods have not been left at room temperature for long, should we keep it or toss it? Oh, we have somebody who said toss.
Toss it.
Okay. We have a lot of people that say keep.
Well, we need to toss the food because it's the 2-hour rule. If it's at room temperature, you know that 2-hour rules I've always been saying. I just said, remember the 2-hour rules. You eat it. After 4 hours, you toss it. Okay.
Iteria, what would we do if we're outside and let's say it's a summer day and it's about 90 degrees?
Oh, if it's a hot summer day, well, I'll make sure I put it on ice or in a little, you put it in your picnic basket with the ice around it to keep it cold if it's a cold type of food. If it's like hot dog or meat, I usually will put it in a container and I'll keep it on ice. Do you have anything to say to add, Ms. Nancy?
Well, you're absolutely right. It could be safe for at least 2 hours if it's kept on ice, but you don't want it to be the container to be sitting in the sun. Try to keep it in the shade as much as possible.
Right.
But after 2 hours, actually, it should be tossed. And if it's 90 degrees outside, you may want to toss it even before then.
Okay.
Because it's not safe. It's better safe than sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so the next question. This is about refrigerated leftovers. Within 3 to 4 days, say leftovers have been in the fridge, are they still safe? Should we keep it or should we toss it?
I wouldn't keep them more than 3 days.
Right.
And it's according to what it is too, because you might have seafood type foods and things like that. I'm really, really particular about that. And another thing is when you go to the deli and buy sliced meats, first of all, I'll go back to what I really talked about and we talked about earlier, that don't get too much of these things because they really, really go bad easy, a couple of days. So if you got things like that in the refrigerator and you touch it and it feels kind of slimy, remember, bacteria oftentimes you can't smell it, you can't taste it, and you cannot see it. And so you want to make sure that you're not keeping these foods in there too long.
All right, and the next question. So we've cut or peeled some fruits and vegetables. Do those need to be refrigerated within 2 hours?
Do we toss it or we keep it?
Yes, they do need to be refrigerated.
And why is that?
Because they'll get bacteria just like anything else.
All right, very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all. Now we get ready to look over, we have a video for you all. So it's called Safety Eating Out. And I like this video. It's a little older video, but it explains about different things about being safe, eating out in restaurants, and eating even at home. It explains a lot of things to us. So I want you to review it, look it over, so we can get started, Sean.
Food safety is just as important whenever you eat out. But don't just take my word for it. Ask Celia Lopez. She's been volunteering at the Glen Lawn Senior Center for over a year. During that time, Celia has gained a lot of new skills. She's also made a lot of new friends, like Hattie Schmidt. She and Hattie usually eat together on Tuesday afternoons.
Celia. Hi. I'm sorry I'm late. It seemed like more people came to eat than usual. When tuna fish sandwiches are on the menu, it's true. People just come running.
I have to admit, they are wonderful.
And big, too. There's almost enough here for tomorrow.
Hattie, you know it's against the rules to take food home from the center.
But it would be such a waste to throw it away. Besides, I've been doing it for years.
But Hattie, you can get sick or something.
I've never gotten sick before.
You never know.
Well, if you don't think it's safe, I'll put it back.
Some centers allow people to take home food and others do not. Centers like Hattie's have rules against takeout because they know how easy it is for bacteria to multiply to dangerous levels when food is left unrefrigerated too long. If you want to stay safe, it makes sense to learn and follow your center's food takeout rules. As you know, eating out is another one of the ways times have certainly changed. So how do you eat food that's safe when someone else is doing the fixing? When eating out, keep 3 familiar food safety rules in mind: clean, cook, and chill. When you go out to eat, look at how clean things are before you even sit down. If it's not up to your standards, you might want to eat somewhere else. The second important thing to remember is that your food needs to be thoroughly cooked to a safe internal temperature. When you're served a hot meal, make sure it's served to you piping hot and thoroughly cooked. And if it's not, send it back. Perishable food needs to be refrigerated as soon as possible. When food is left out, bacteria in the food can double every 20 minutes. As we learned before, the more bacteria, the greater the chance you might get sick. So refrigerate doggy bags and take-home meals within 1 to 2 hours. If you plan to visit friends or run errands before you return home, it's probably safer to leave the food where you dined. Food safety.
Okay. Thanks, Sean, for the video. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. Here's our lesson summary. So remember the following 4 food safety steps. Also remember to wash your hands, use the thermometer, and follow the food storage guidance, okay? So the 4 food safety rules is clean, separate, cook, and chill. Okay. One question?
All right, we have a number of questions here, so that's gonna keep you busy for a few minutes here. So the first one comes from Gwen. How long can you keep canned goods?
You can keep canned goods. Sometimes people, there's guidelines that say you can keep canned goods up to 2 or 3 years. And a lot of people are concerned about the expiration date on canned goods. Now, the expiration date just simply is saying that that's how long that the manufacturer might say that this is going to be good. It'll say used by so-and-so. But the expiration date, you probably can still use canned goods a few weeks after the expiration date, but you know that it's going to take some of the nutrients and vitamins and even the taste from the food.
Gonna be different.
And while I'm talking, and I just want to add this, I wrote this down because it came to mind, Iteria, if you don't know. First of all, if you're going to, I noticed that someone said in the chat about they make a casserole and they eat it all week. Well, if you make a casserole and you want to eat it all week, freeze it in small containers.
Yes.
And you do not have to let food get completely cold to put it in the refrigerator. Say, for instance, you make a big pot of stew. If you make a big pot of stew, let it cool down to a certain, maybe till it's warm, but you don't want to leave it on the stove for 3 hours because then you've got bacteria. Bacteria loves the warm food. So it starts to build up and build up. So pour it into small containers and put it in the refrigerator, in the freezer, label it and put it in the freezer. And that way, whenever you get ready to eat a serving of it, you got it. Thanks, Iteria.
You're welcome. I just wanted to let you know that I also freezes my soups. I put it in freezer bag. They're very inexpensive. You can buy freezer bag, you can buy the large one, you can buy the small one. And every time I get ready to eat some soup or have some soup, I bring out my little freezer container and I just unthaw it and I just eat. So the freezer bags are really good and they're inexpensive. So I just want.
When you do your freezer bags, do you lay them down and pack them up?
I lay them down flat and I label them and I put the date on them. And I also put the name of the soup or the recipe.
Right.
Oh, I do all that, you know.
All right, another question here. Thank you. Is it better to remove storage foods from the original packaging and put them into glass or plastic containers? Will that make its shelf life longer?
Oh. Do you know, Miss?
I'm not sure that it makes the shelf life longer. Some people just like to look at it and they think it looks nice in the shelf. So
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure whether it would make it any longer, but you do need to look at the expiration date. Things like cereal and foods like that, because grain will get stale quick. So we have to be very careful. And also it will, grains will collect bugs. So we have to be very careful about that. So you don't want to keep these things too long.
All right, another question. I've heard using vinegar or salt water to clean fruits and vegetables. Are those good cleaning solutions?
No, just plain water.
It's not a necessity.
No.
Great.
Okay.
All right, so you already addressed this. Should we put a date on food that we're storing? Yes. All right. And another one. Again, this actually.
Don't forget to put the name of the food too on them. Don't forget to put the name, because I have done frozen food and I forgot what it is. So I make sure I put the date, the expiration date on, and I make sure I close the lid real tight and I put it in the freezer and I lay it flat, especially with my soup. Okay.
Okay, here's another question from Gloria. Do you have a guide for how long certain foods should remain in the freezer?
Yes, we do have a guide for it. So if you could leave your email in the chat, we probably could send you one through the email.
Yes.
What do you think, Iteria?
Yes, we can send it. I'm here in the office right now. I can get that information to them as soon as possible. Even if she send me an email, she can send it to Vanessa, or and I send an email. I can send that information to you as soon as possible.
All right. Gloria put her email in the chat, so we'll make sure to get that out to her afterwards. Let's see. Any other questions we have here in the list?
Oh, she sent the email.
Yep. Yeah, so actually this goes back to the bugs then. So if I'm storing, if I'm not storing flour or other powdery items in the fridge, what's the best way to store them without bugs getting in there?
Probably a glass container. I put my flour and cornmeal and things like that. I actually add them to a storage bag and close them up. But you still don't want to keep them too long. Because sometimes, first of all, although we try to trust the grocery stores and all of this, sometimes you just don't know how long that stuff has been in the grocery store. And then you take it home and keep it for a year. And we tend to, if we're not, I talked about it and Iteria talked about it, not buying things that you don't use often. If you're not a baker and you don't bake every week or so, you don't need 25 pounds of flour.
Yes.
Because it's just asking for trouble. So, but I buy a small bag and I put it in a storage bag and I zip it up and I put it in a pantry.
Great.
All right, here's another question. When thawing foods, is it okay to leave them out on the counter to thaw before cooking?
No, no, no.
What would be a better way to thaw out your foods then?
Usually thaw your food out in your refrigerator, at the bottom of your refrigerator. So I usually thaw out if you're in a hurry. When I need to thaw out something, if I need to cook it right away, I will use my microwave to unthaw. But as soon as I unthaw it, I am gonna cook it right away, okay? So you can unthaw in your microwave, but I'm gonna cook it right away. I'm not gonna let it sit. I'm just gonna go real straight in and start cooking, okay? You have anything else, Miss Nancy? Suggest?
Make sure that the microwave is on defrost. Not
yes,
cook.
that's it.
And if you still got a little bit of ice in it, because you can still cook something that's got a little bit of ice in it, then that's okay. But if you worried about that, running under cold water for constantly running it for a while, and you can get some of the ice away. But make sure that if you defrost it in the microwave, that it's on defrost.
Yes, not
the microwave is on defrost.
Defrost. Yes.
All right, so that looks to be all of the questions that we have here. I have a few emails here from individuals who are interested in the freezer guide. So I will make sure that we get those to you so you can send that out. Do you have any final thoughts or final comments?
I just want to say, we have our credits here. I just want to say thank you all so much for having us today. I enjoyed it. This is, I was a little nervous, but towards the end, I got relaxed and I felt better, and you all made your welcoming. And I want to thank my team, my supporters, all of them, even Valerie, Vanessa, all the other people, Nancy and Sean, thank you all so much. And everybody who's on the other end who's supporting me. And I just want to say thank you. Okay. I appreciate it so much. You just.
All right. Very good.
I would like to say thank you too. Also, we have enjoyed this very much. And we just want to remind you that Michigan State Extension, our program is of no charge to people that are eligible for SNAP Ed funds. We want to make sure that everybody knows that we have an office in every county in Michigan. And so wherever you are from, you can find an MSU Extension office, and we have programs available for everyone.
Online?
Yeah. From senior citizens to the youth. So make sure that you take a look at our website. It would be msuextension.org. I think I'm right.
Yes, you're right.
All right.
And thank you so much, Valerie. I appreciate this so much for giving us this time to present to your group. Thank you all so much. Okay. All right.
One more housekeeping announcement quickly before I pass off to Vanessa here, in case she wants to say anything in some. For those who are on a smartphone, for those who saw the slides today and were able to see the video, when this webinar ends, a brief survey you'll be forced into a survey afterwards. This is a demographic collection survey. And this is very important for Iteria and Nancy, so that we can have the information that we can share with the USDA, which is one of Michigan State University Extension's major funders. So If you could take the time, it probably should only take maybe not even 2 minutes to fill that out. We would appreciate that. And we will also try to email the link to any individuals who dialed in to the webinar today. So, all right, Vanessa, do you have anything else to add?
Yes, thank you so much. I want to give another thank you to Miss Iteria, Miss Nancy for the wonderful presentation. Thank you. We really appreciate you presenting for our HBE members. It's such an important topic, so any information and education we can learn about this is, great, beneficial for our health and well-being. For anyone, I think that we have an email address for. We can share the presentation slides. There was a couple people that asked for that. So I think when we send the freezer guide, we can just send the slides as well and put it all together for you in one email. Anyone that dialed in by telephone, if you have any questions that weren't answered, or if you would like more information, feel free to give us a call at our office, leave us a voicemail message, and one of us in the HB office will follow up with you and try to get that information. I'm going to give our office phone number again. It's in the newsletter, but just in case, it's 313-664-2616. So this was our first webinar Lunch and Learn that we've transitioned to during our new world of COVID. So hopefully you enjoyed it and we're still able to stay connected this way. We do have other ones coming up for the rest of the fall, and we'd love to have you join. Information's in the newsletter, and please feel free to, invite other family, friends, neighbors, anyone that you think would be interested. They're open to anyone and everyone that wants to attend. So thank you so much for spending your time with us this morning. And again, to our presenters and Sean and Barbara, thank you for all your help with this.
And I may as well throw in a plug for our next one. Our next Lunch and Learn will be on Monday, October 12th. And this is the partnership with the AARP. This is a teletown hall. So we will only be, this will only be through phone. And our presenters are going to speak about COVID-19 and the upcoming flu season, and what to do and what to monitor for to make sure you maintain your health throughout the fall, throughout the winter, and into next spring. So.
Yes, yeah, I think that's going to be a great event. Both of our speakers are medical doctors. One of them is an infectious disease doctor. The other one is a family doctor. And they're going to be giving some really important information about COVID-19, the difference between COVID and the flu, talking about flu shots. So that is going to be 11 a.m. Monday, October 12th. Like Sean said, it's a teletown hall, so it's all by telephone. Information is in the HBE newsletter, but please feel free to call our office to RSVP and we will give you all the information for it.
All right. Thank you everybody for attending. Have a great day, and we'll look forward to seeing you in our future Lunch and Learns. Have a great day, everybody.
Okay, thank you.